Hi, this is Nancy, and thank you for taking the time to watch. Love moves mountains of fear. I know this to be true, not because it's poetic or comforting, but because one moment in my life proved it to me. This is the story of the day John Lennon died, and the day I saw and heard him speak. December 8th, 1980. The day felt ordinary. My children were heading out the door, their laughter still in the air. I was just about to follow when a voice on the radio stopped me cold. John Lennon has been shot and killed. The words hit like a punch to the chest. John Lennon gone. The man whose music had touched millions just silenced. I told the kids to stay in the car with their father, and I lay down on the brown carpet in our living room. The world felt still, too still. I closed my eyes, and then something happened. I imagined I could see John. And as I did, the imagination took on a life of its own. Suddenly, I saw him there, struggling to put on a pair of jeans. In my mind, I said softly, "John, you don't need them." He looked up, nodded, and I went, "Oh, right." And he showed me he remembered the bullet coming into him. Then came the request that would stay with me. "Please tell Yoko to gather everyone for prayer so I can go on my next journey." I told him, "I don't know Yoko." He smiled. "Yes, you can talk to her, but I have nothing in common with you or her." And he looked right at me and said words that put doubt in my mind. "We have a lot in common. Please tell Yoko to gather people and pray for my next journey." And then he was gone. I sent love, light, and prayers into the silence for John, for Yoko, for their son, for their journey. But inside me, some question had shifted things. That day, memories became tumbling back of the times I'd used his music at work, at the acute psychiatric unit in the South Bronx. Where I was head nurse, I often turned to unconventional tools for healing: art, music, compassion, straight talk. One day, I brought in John's song Mother from his Plastic Ono band album. If you've ever heard it, you know it's raw. It's real. It's John's cry for the mother who couldn't stay. It's the sound of a wound opening and finding air. I shared it with my staff, and most of them didn't know what it was about. And they asked me what it meant, and I told them, "This is what it sounds like to release pain." I had gone through something called primal therapy. It's the same kind John had done with Arthur Janoff, the author of the book, Primal Therapy. And my therapist worked with Arthur Janoff too. That song, shared in a safe space, shifted something in all of us. It opened a window of understanding that trauma is not pathology, but a cry for love. And now, feeling him across a veil to ask for love once again at that time, during that time when he died, I didn't follow the news because I was working with law enforcement. I preferred not to know anything in the news. Cold, without influence. I didn't really know much about his personal life, but I started to read about it, and I discovered he loved making bread. So did I. I was grinding grain and baking fresh loaves for my family like he did. Little things, small, hidden threads connecting our world. And I realized maybe John had been there. Maybe I was speaking with him. We did have some things in common. And 2 days later, on December 10th, my friend Roy called. He was a director and screenwriter editing a movie in a Manhattan studio at the time. And I had found a missing film for him once in the film library, which has thousands. "Anything new in the psychic world for you?" he asked. And he was half joking, just chatting. And I ended up telling him everything about the vision, the message for Yoko. He was silent, and then calmly he said, Oh, Yoko's in the next studio down the hall. I can bring her here for you. I froze. I said, no, thank you. I couldn't do it. Who was I to deliver a message? I didn't even know if it was real. But he did have her there. Shirley had hundreds of people saying they'd heard from him. So I stayed quiet. And part of me has wondered what would have happened if I hadn't and did speak with her. Of course. 2 days after that, December 12th, my girlfriend, Dr. Edith Yoko, a psychiatrist who is all about parapsychology, called and she also asked me what's going on, anything. So I told her about Roy and what happened the day John died. And she goes, isn't that interesting? I have Yoko's phone number. Let me get it for you. I froze again and I asked her, how is that possible? It turned out that her home in Croton-on-Hudson, sitting on 9 acres on top of a hill overlooking the Hudson, was something they had hoped to purchase the day after he died. They had an appointment to see it with her. Wow. I thanked her, but once again, I declined. Somehow, I knew Yoko was surrounded by all the love and support she needed. And December 14th, thousands gathered in Central Park for a worldwide prayer led by Yoko. That sacred space became known as Strawberry Fields. I dismissed what I had experienced as silly until 2 doors opened up from the universe that I had never suspected. And so it changed. The veil lifted, and I knew without a doubt I had touched this soul across a great divide. You don't have to know someone personally to send them love and light. Fear often hides behind humility, and perhaps that's what I had. Because that voice in my head had whispered, who are you to matter? Who are you to talk to somebody? Your love, your intuition, your open heart, they reach further than you can imagine. Soul-to-soul connections don't care about time or fame or form. They just are. And maybe that's the whole point. When we share our stories, we help others unlock the truth in their own hearts. When we listen to our imagination, we might just be hearing our soul's truth. Because the invisible world, it knocks more than once. The real question is, are you listening? In the end, I'm grateful for what I received, even though I never passed the message along, because love still moves something inside me. And maybe that's all love ever needs to do, move one heart at a time. Has love ever moved you in a way you couldn't explain? Have you ever felt a presence, a whisper, a nudge from beyond? If so, maybe the veil is lifting for you too. With love and mystery. This is Nancy saying thank you for watching. And if you don't subscribe yet, please hit the subscribe button, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.